Hello, everyone, and welcome to Spiritual Talk. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Paul. How are you today?
I'm good. You know what? I'm going to do a little bit of magic. Are you ready?
I love magic.
Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh my God. I've got a bit of
I love it.
OCD. I like being on the left. I don't know what that's about, but
Well, I like
I'm
being on the
here.
right.
It's good to be back. I'm so sorry I've been away, and thank you both to you and Alice. It's been great to see you holding the fort, and we're back together again. It's great for another brilliant episode with another great guest. And this
I know,
guest is
I'm
a
so
friend of yours as
excited.
well. Yeah,
Yes, he
yeah.
is.
Before we go and bring our lovely guest in, guys, let us know where you're coming in from. Be great to know where you're coming in from. I'm just going to look at the comments quickly. Going to put Melody up on the screen. Hi, Melody.
Hi, Melody. Good to see you.
We got Joe Turner. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
And I don't know if you can see. Can you see the comments as well coming up?
I can see the comments. So that one just says Facebook user. So sometimes we're not able to see your names, but we say hello to you.
Yeah.
And Chris is here. Hi again to you, Chris. Hi, Amy. Good to see you, love.
Cheryl's on as well coming in from Toronto. We
Hi,
got someone coming
Cheryl.
in. I'm not sure who that is coming in from Michigan. So yeah, guys, we can only see your face. Just says Facebook user, unfortunately. And
Yeah, it
also,
just depends on our settings. Oh,
big.
Kaza's here. Kaza is in the house.
Oh,
Good to
awesome.
see you. Sheila. Hi, Sheila.
Sheila's here. Hi, Sheila.
Isabel.
Oh, it's Anne
Hello.
Marie. It's Anne Marie. Hi, Anne Marie. How you
Oh, yeah.
doing?
Yeah, if you show up and it just says Facebook user, if you let us know your name, that would be great because
Yeah.
then we can connect with
Yeah.
you better. That's lovely. Hi, Donna.
Yeah. And we got
Hi.
Donna. Denise from Swaffham. Hi, Denise. Good old Norfolk. It's been raining all day here. Now our guest guy's coming on. He's an absolute inspiration. He's done some fabulous work, and he's also a friend of yours, Jennifer.
He is. I've known Miguel for many years, and he is just one of the most beautiful hearts, just beautiful ambassador of spirits. I'm so excited that we get to connect with him today for all of our beautiful viewers and wonderful spirit artist, beautiful medium, lovely trance mediums, the whole package. So we're very lucky to have him joining us here today.
Here he is. Hi, Miguel.
Miguel.
Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Paul.
Hi.
How you
For
doing?
inviting me on.
Well, thank you, and we really appreciate you being here. Now, the first question we always ask, why did you become a medium? How did you become a medium? There is a kind of slight who would want to become a medium, but you're here. How did your journey begin?
I feel that this was very much unplanned in the simple way of I never imagined this to be a part of my life, but it did become, and so I'm very happy that it did. My whole journey started when I was 26, about to turn 27. I had a really beautiful visitation from the Lady of Guadalupe. And in that dream, I could see her and I could see Juan Dieguito below her. And I woke up immediately. I'm like, that was her. I'm like, that was the Lady of Guadalupe. And I could feel the energy in the room just be so different. And after that dream, I just thought, what does this mean? And I could just feel in my heart something new is coming in and I have to prepare for it. I have to make changes in my life. And so that was really the beginning. And after that first dream, for 2 more days, she kept coming into the room and I could see her. And sometimes it would be like a constellation of stars in the room of her form, and it was really beautiful. And that's what really began my journey. Then my grandma started coming in, and I started to question, what is this? What's happening?
Yeah.
And I've always been somebody that wondered what's out there, what happens when we die. And I think that my questions were finally answered after many, many years of wondering what would happen.
Yeah, I'd say. Well, how old was you when this happened?
I was 26, about to turn 27.
Okay. Oh, so you wasn't a young child where a lot of people have experiences. So, I mean, it's quite difficult. You touched on something, we all ask those big questions. Why are we here? Is there life after death? So now, how long have you been working, Miguel, with Spirit?
Say that again, sorry.
How long have you been actually working with Spirit?
I think it's been a good 5 years now that I've been working with Spirit. And when I was little, I would feel things. I would feel people in
Okay.
the room when I was little. I would be afraid of the dark because of that. I didn't know what was going on, or if somebody said something to me about somebody dying, I could see in my third eye clairvoyance. I could see that person. I could see images of them. But I always said to myself, it's because I'm creative. I'm imagining this as a
Yeah.
little kid. And so now that I understand how the information comes to me, I see how that was connected to when I was little. I just never made that connection that it could be mediumship because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I had no idea of it growing up.
Yeah. 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 How did you two guys meet as well? Because you're friends, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah,
that
we
was
are.
that was at the very beginning of my journey. There was a store in Aliso Viejo called
Okay.
Awakenings, and this is when I was just becoming aware of the spirit world, and I went into that store, and somebody recommended Michael Mayo, who was teaching classes there, and that's how I met Jennifer.
Mhm.
Ah,
We've known each other ever since.
Yes.
And I remember you were in teaching art back then as well, in college, right? Correct. And it's been so beautiful because you're such a beautiful demonstration of what keeping the creative side of our minds does for us, for our mediumship. Because I'm not surprised you're such a beautiful medium and spirit artist, not just because you're a good artist, but because of the imagination and that creative center of your mind that you've kept open all of these years. Because when I teach, I encourage people to play. I encourage people to be artistic. And I've used you as an example. Like, I know this great medium and he's this great artist, and look at his clairvoyance, because you've kept that open, and it's such a beautiful gift. So I loved sharing with that about people, to keep play open and to keep that creative mind open too, because that's what spirit loves to work through. Miguel.
Thank you. Thank you.
people are coming on saying hello
Yeah.
still.
Hi,
So,
Ava.
hi, Eva. And Stacia, hiya, and Isabel as well. We got so many people still coming on saying hello. It's great that you're joining us here this evening. Tonight, we're with this young man, Miguel Gonzalez. And Miguel, you do so many things, and wow. Yeah, well, I've worked with Miguel, so I kind of know you as well.
Yes.
And your artwork is amazing. It really is. It's a shame. I wish I set up another screen so people could see some of your pictures, but we can. I'm going to quickly try and be clever and switch the banners. You've got some of your on pictures on Facebook, haven't you? Because I've seen them come up on Facebook. So, guys, check out Miguel's Facebook there. In terms of connecting the two worlds together, if you like, with your art and spirit, has there been an experience that has really moved you in terms of a particular connection? I mean, I can think of 2 or 3 messages that even to this day I'm like, wow. I'm not blowing my trumpet. It's just, but 2 of them were really short messages. So, but there is this, when we're connecting with spirit, there's always an essence of spirit with us. Spirit is always present, but sometimes there is those wow moments, and your art with a message is really quite powerful. So is there anything that stands alone or stands out to you?
I think that there are 2 experiences that I can think of. One, which was for the sitter, and one for myself. I feel I always connect back to that first drawing that was recognized, which was a young man that I drew in a circle, a practice circle. And having that validation of him being recognized really brought something into my own experience, into my own life, and being able to see how art can connect the 2 souls together once again, and for that person to be able to see their loved one momentarily in that moment once again was something that was very, very special to be able to experience. The second one for me was when I was drawing a father for, I believe it was a daughter, And I've shared this story. It's like the drawing became flesh, and I could see the gentleman's eye blink, and just a tear just dropped and rolled down his eye. And I
Wow.
was so moved by that there was just so much emotion that came forward just from that little moment. Of course, that was my own experience, but I could just feel the energy and the love that he was bringing forward through that expression. And I did share that with the sitter. But those are my two moments that I always think of. And they really are, moments that happened in the beginning of my journey, when of course there's still a lot of doubt, confusion, like what am I doing, what's happening. And so when those moments did occur, it gave me a little bit more security that there was something here and that I should continue and move forward with it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
That sounds beautiful. Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
beautiful. Miguel, how has like your connection with spirit grown over the years? Because I know when we first get started, we're kind of just getting to know the spirit world and getting to know our helpers. But then over the years, that connection grows and grows. I'd love to hear about for you how that's continued to grow for you, because I see the change in myself and I see the change in you from where we started and where we are now.
Absolutely. Yeah. It really does change. The biggest change for me has been being able to connect with my guides. And I feel that that really just happened for me last year, and being able to recognize who they are. The previous years, I feel that it had been very much about development. And I mean, I'm still developing, I'm still trying to move forward, but it was just the focus was on understanding my own connection. And now that that's been a bit more settled in, the connection with my spirit guides has been the one that's been growing a lot more. And every time they come near or they start to work with me, I just get so emotional. I get flooded with all of their love, and that is such a beautiful experience to feel. Even just last night, I was here with a friend and I was sharing some healing, and it was just unplanned for. And I just started to send my thoughts, and I was just going into trance, and I could just feel them drawing in closer and closer, and you could just feel that energy of love just swelling up. And that has really changed my own experience quite a lot. It has shown me that we are always watched over, we are always taken care of. Our guides love us tremendously. They want us to be well, they're there to support us. And so that's where I do encourage people to connect with their guides and be able to build that relationship with them. It doesn't have to be, oh, you know their name, where they were born or such. Yes, those are wonderful things, but connect to them on that love connection, that energy, and building that relationship. And it's just really magical because they will pop in to encourage you, to share their love, and that has been very precious. Just in moments where maybe I'm not feeling good, I did something, I'll feel my guy pop in and be like, you did really good, great job, or we love you, keep going. And so those encouragements are just really beautiful to experience, because for I think many mediums, this journey can be quite a lonely one sometimes if you don't have friends that are mediums, or your family doesn't really understand what you're experiencing or going through. So having these connections of support from the other side, your loved ones, your grandmother, grandfather, to whomever you send your love to, having that support is just a beautiful, beautiful experience to have.
Oh, that's
That
beautiful.
that is really beautiful. We've got a question here from Isabel. How can I'm assuming she means how can I connect with spirit? Do you know, can I just say I'm terrible at text typing. I miss my commas and my punctuation. So apologies for anyone who knows me. So Isabel's asked, how can I connect with spirit? Is there some, I mean, there's no real hard and fast rule, is there? But for you, Miguel, how do you connect?
For me, it's just simply sending my thoughts to them and inviting them to join me into the space. If I'm sitting for meditation or I'm sitting to blend with their energy, I invite them in that way. If I'm just going about my day and I just want to check in with them, then I just invite them and for whatever I'm doing, and just taking that moment to quiet the mind and find that peace and that silence momentarily, to just feel that energy shift and their presence to be felt in that moment. That's what I
Yeah.
experience, or that's how I connect with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously everyone works in their own unique way. And you touched on something that I often wonder myself. This is not an easy path. It's quite a hard path to follow. You're putting yourself up there, and a lot of people, through fear, through ignorance, will ridicule us. But that's okay, because we have spirit working with us. And I've been around for a long time, unfortunately, and I still have days where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it anymore. I'm just going to need to take a step back. And then I get reminded about the reasons why I do it, and the people that I do help. And friends of mine have said, all the people that you help and support, and I guess it's for all of us. I'm not sure, Jennifer, if you've ever felt that way.
No, never. No. There is a spiritualization of the medium that we go through. I know Miguel and I know it well, and it can be a very lonely path, and it changes, and so sometimes who you're connected with changes, and that moves forward, and it just keeps changing on you. So there is a lot of loneliness too, and then there is that need for self-reflection and time to go through those processes. So it does get, I think most mediums probably have felt quite misunderstood at times with our sensitivity and with our connection, and Michael's here. Hi, Michael.
Yeah, and it's kind of high five, Michael. Thank you for that. It's my exact thoughts as well. Absolutely. It's not an easy road, and it's certainly and they test us as well. There's a lot of testing along the way. Absolutely. Yeah, we should also say, which we're really, really excited about, and I will share the where is it? Let me go to the banner. Sorry, guys. The Zoom link for tonight. Here we go. Because Miguel, if he has time, is going to join us and just do a little bit of his art connecting with spirit, and we're going to link with Miguel and work with him to bring spirit through. We don't know how long we've got. We'll probably do it for about half an hour or so, but if you get the opportunity and you're around, guys, we'd love to see you over on Zoom. Sorry, that's my little plug. And also, guys, if you share and get it out there, let us know, and you might win a free half-hour reading. I'm not sure whose turn is it. Is it this week? Is it Alice's? I think it is. Alice is not even here, and it's her turn.
I think it's Alice's. I did this last one, and then you were before me, so I do believe it's Alice's turn. Hi, Jordan.
Yeah,
good
Jordan's
to see
here.
you. I know Debbie's here as well, and Melinda's here. So you got a lot of beautiful friends. Stacey's here. A lot of love coming your way, Miguel.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
So Gabby's just asked what time on Zoom. So as soon as we finish the show, in around, we normally go live for about an hour. So straight after the show, we just quickly get ourselves a drink, and then we go over onto Zoom. So it'd be great to see you guys over there. And obviously I'm going to call you young. I almost called you young man. I'm so sorry. It sounds.
Okay.
You're pretty much younger than me, but your artwork is fantastic. Let me just take that off there. So, guys, if you're around, just jump on. That'd be great. Jump in. And Nancy, hi Nancy as well.
Hi Nancy. That's my girl. Good to see you.
Awesome.
Hey Miguel, do you have a special experience like with I know you've got some beautiful guides that work with you in different ways, and with your trance and speaking and your healing. Is there anything you'd like to share with us about that, about your helpers, or a special experience, or about one of them?
Yeah, let me think here. There are a few. I think I'm always surprised by what can happen if we just simply surrender and allow for spirit to come through and just do what they need to do. And when we allow for that to be a possibility, I'm always surprised. So in the beginning, when I started, they would not speak through me yet when I started doing the trance healing. So at the end, I would be the one sharing the information. I was feeling this, I was sensing this. But then over time, I could feel that my guide wanted to start speaking during the healing. And so he began to take control and began to speak. But then they also wanted to get up and move around and move to different parts of the body. So as this is happening, my eyes are closed. And so I freak out because I'm like, what if we trip? What if we fall? what's going to happen? I don't want to touch the person in an appropriate way. What's going to happen? But it's just those things of just letting go and surrendering. And when that experience happens, some magic can really be brought forward when I'm just amazed how they're able to direct where they need to go. I'm like, I have no idea how you see, because obviously I can't see, but you're controlling my body. Go ahead. And through that experience, I've really learned that we can really trust our helpers. And all that they want to do is help the people that we're connecting with and to help us as well. And one of the moments that I can think back to was my first experience with Braveheart, was because you shared with me, Jennifer, to listen to a recording for a meditation. It was a guided trance meditation, and you shared that.
I think that was Tony Stockwell, right?
Exactly.
I think it was. Yeah.
It was Tony Stockwell. And I remember sitting down in my room. I turned on a red light, and I was like, I'm just going to see what happens. And I remember moving into that space, and it was like this movie was playing in front of me of this Native American. And he was showing me his life and what was happening in his life. And so I dismissed it because I just thought, well, everybody has a Native American guide. So I thought that's my mind making it up. But then later on, he came back through the really beautiful, wonderful Elaine Thorpe, which has been on this show. So he came through and he spoke through her. And that was really sort of the initial beginning of, okay, there's something here that's happening. And so after that one session, I would continue to sit. And then he started to give me information about himself. And I had just kept it to myself till one night he said, look me up. You're going to find me. Look me up. And I was like, okay. So I started to look for Braveheart. And it took me a while, but I found him, and I found him with the information he had given me and a photo of him. And that just blew my mind, to be able to connect the soul that was connecting with me and his earthly life experience and who he was here. And so that just brought so much comfort into my own life. And then just recently, not too long ago, I also was able to find Dr. Sanchez, who works with me as well. He gave me information, and I was able to Google him. I found who he was and what he did here on the earth. And those little moments are really special, to be able to connect when we can put a face to the soul that's been working with us, and that they were once here as well. And maybe one day we'll have that wonderful opportunity to also help somebody from the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Do you, when you're in that moment, how do you experience that connection with your guides? Are you conscious of that connection, or do you step right back so you're not conscious? For some people, there's a variety of experiences for people. I'm terrible because my mind gets in the way, so I have to really go down. How does that work for you, Miguel?
I really try to do my best to stay away, but curiosity can, of course, come in, and I'm like, what are you doing? And so I really try to stay away. But the way that I experience it is that I'm only aware of what's happening in that very moment. As that new piece of information is coming through, or energy, I've forgotten about what the previous thing was. And so when I come out of it, it feels like a dream that I'll remember bits and pieces of it. Or if somebody starts to talk about it, then I'll remember the other parts as well. But I really try to stay away for a while. I was focusing my attention back here, but I'm kind of learning to keep my attention at my feet now, so I can be further away. So I'm like pulling myself down so that they can take more control. And it is quite a bit of a challenge, and it takes a lot of practice to really keep ourselves out of the way, because we're such inquisitive beings. We want to know what's going on. Especially when they're doing the healing, that I see the doctor come in and I'm seeing him use different tools. Like, I want to know what he's doing, but I'm like, no, stay away, don't look, just so that I can let them do what they need to do.
Yeah. I remember when I first started doing trance, I'm going back to 2007, and maybe even before that. Actually, it was a little bit before that. And I used to visualize going down into my solar plexus, almost like walking downstairs.
Yes.
and having steps. And one day I had this experience where I went, as I went down, I then felt myself pop out of my body, which is a very weird experience coming out through the back of my solar plexus. It kind of shocked me a little bit, I've got to be honest. But what brings me back is when they start to come in and connect, you hear this wisdom and this knowledge. And like you said, I'm like, I'll go, I want to hear this. And of course you can't. Yeah. And I've found that really difficult. And I don't do nowhere near like I should do trance. I really want to sit, but my life's been so busy. But I've also found that my mediumship has shifted a bit. And I wondered if this was with your trance work as well, that this was happening with when you're doing your mediumship, if your consciousness is just starting to shift away. So you've got that deeper blend with spirit, allowing them to come through in a stronger connection, because you're blending with those forces of spirit anyway by doing it in a more conscious way, but you're kind of not, because you're letting go anyway. There was a question in there somewhere, Miguel. I hope you understood that.
Yes, I understood the question. Yes, I've experienced that connection can become a bit more stronger or deeper. I've had some moments where, like, after I'll do a healing, if they didn't bring a loved one through and I'm starting to feel someone, then I'll just start connecting. And I can feel myself being more removed, where I'm just talking and letting the information come through. And it feels like it's a lot more fluid. There's less effort in that moment. And it's like the information is just passing through and coming out of my mouth. And it's a really wonderful experience. But it does take that concentration of allowing ourselves to move into that space to make that happen.
Yeah.
But when it happens, I feel like it is quite magical.
Yeah.
And that can be.
I'm so glad you said that, because it shows that there's like a progression. Because I know for me as well, at first you're kind of just hearing it and repeating it. And in the beginning, when we're starting to do trance, people just think they're supposed to black out and it's just supposed to happen like magic. And it just generally doesn't work that way. We're kind of hearing it, repeating it. It might be a little us and a little of them. And then over time, the words are just coming out. We're not hearing it anymore. It's just coming through you. So I love how you explained how the progression works, because I know we have a lot of developing mediums that are here watching and wanting to probably know more about trance, and are hoping that it will happen in a certain way, and to give them that comfort that it's a progression that we just let happen over time. It seems spirit really likes to have progressions. They like to take things step by step. We just want it all now.
Absolutely. They do.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that again, because it is true. It is a progression when we're working in trance. I still remember the first few times that I was constantly trying to do it. It can be a scary thing. I was so nervous as well that I'm like, what am I going to do? What's going to happen? But it's really about surrendering and just giving what you're receiving, because there is that effort of where we have to allow for that information to pass through. And it's through that practice that then you just let go more and more, and it's naturally happens.
Yeah. I think there's a trust that builds up too, because I know the three of us have this beautiful trust in the spirit world, and we come with an open heart, and it's all about the love. And I think that really helps. We're not keeping them far away. We just feel that comfort, and that trusting relationship is so strong that enables them to work with us in that deeper way.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's in, and going back to your guides and our guides, Jennifer, as well. It's developing that trust and also managing that self-doubt, like you said, when we first begin on our path, when we get bits and pieces, and being aware. I mean, some people call it the superconscious mind, coming through the subconscious into the conscious mind, and those impressions they give us. So there's not always stories. Sometimes it can be just pure impressions. But as you develop, it becomes stronger and stronger. But it's that difficult road between you and spirit and developing your connection, where a lot of people, well, I say lots of people are called, but only a few are chosen. Well, not chosen, but kind of make it. And that's the real thing I want to touch on is about doubt. How do you deal with doubt? How do you get over doubt? Do you ever question yourself sometimes when you're connecting to a certain, maybe a new guide or somebody coming in and one of the problems I've had with my mediumship recently is I've struggled with this idea that when people go into the spirit world, and I believe it's down to a level of evidence of what they were like when they were here, where it's kind of had this issue with it within my belief system that they'll say something that isn't, you'd think they'd be more open to understanding what happened on their journey. Do you understand what I mean? So somebody told me, a gentleman came to me and told me that his daughter wasn't his daughter, and he wrote her a letter before he died and said to the daughter, "You're not allowed to open the letter until after I died." And when he passed into the spirit world, she opened the letter and she was really upset, of course. But when she decided to connect to a medium, so I got chosen. And this guy, I could hear him saying, "She's not my daughter." And he was adamant, and he wasn't particularly nice about it. So then I had that whole self-doubt within me. Is this my mind? What is going on here? Why is he saying this? What is the story? Of course, we can't all know the full story about potentially, is there a karmic thing going on here? I don't know. But it did create a lot of self-doubt in me. Why am I having this experience? Is it just a layer of evidence that he's being this way? I don't know. How would you feel if you had that experience, guys? What would you do? I mean, I struggled with that because I always believe that once the soul leaves the body, we become connected to the whole. And like I said to you, I've had this out of body experience where I felt that. And even when I've done trance, I've come back into my body and felt like connected to everything, being part of the whole. So therefore, if you've gone over, surely that loved one would come through and be more loving. I'm so sorry I wrote you that letter. I'm so sorry I didn't mean to cause you that pain. So why does that happen? Or is this my self-doubt? Is this something within my heart that's something that's not quite right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. You know, I feel that just as it takes us time here to heal and to learn and grow, I feel that it's also similar to when we cross over to the spirit world. I think there is a greater understanding, and we do jump into a space of where there is a great change.
Yeah.
But I think that we also go through the process of healing. And for some people, that may take some time. That may take a while. I remember in the very beginning of my journey, I connected with a lovely lady whom her husband had passed. And this is, you know, before I knew or understood the other side, before other information was given to me by other people of like what it's like or what spirit should be like. This woman wanted to connect to her husband, and I think I connected with her like every month because that's what she needed. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my best to help. And I remember there was one session where he said, "You need to stop coming to me. I need to heal, and you need to heal." And I was like, what? I was like, what's going on? And I remember I'm like, I'm really sorry, but I have to share this, that your husband is saying that you need to heal. And he's also healing on the other side. And I thought that was really an
That's really
interesting,
interesting.
experience to have. And that was really
Yeah.
early on. And I remember just thinking of that moment and thinking, I think that spirit on the other side is also going through the experience of healing and also addressing their emotions, the things that they've experienced here on the earth. And for some, it might be an easy exchange of healing those wounds, and for some, it might take a little longer.
Yeah. I kind of have gone on and asked spirit what is going on, because I've had a couple of people that, how can I describe it? One notorious gangster from the UK back in the 60s, somebody that was very close to them in life, were taken away from that gang, and he came through. And it was interesting, from when he came in, he had he was a lot of, again, symbology, but I was seeing a lot of darkness around him. But what I find, and I've had this several times with people that are in the dark, there is always someone with light around them to help them to heal and help them to grow, which to me, I find that very powerful and beautiful. But it's easy to make that assumption that when you go into spirit, we suddenly become this wonderful being of love and light. Well, and I believe you've hit the nail on the head. It is a process. Absolutely. Absolutely. We've got so many comments coming. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your interaction. We love it. And this is your show as well. And Stacey's put, it took my NDE to remove any doubt. Interesting. Love to know more, Stace. Okay. Also, there's a question here. This is great question. Hi, Cheryl. Question: does your connection feel the same or different when you are doing healing versus speaking and art? Can you please describe the differences? Thank you. Good question.
There are definitely very different feelings and sensations that happen. I do feel that when I'm doing the spirit art, it's a very, very light state of trance, where I remove myself a little bit to allow them to take control. So when I need to come back and give information, it's like I raise my vibration a little bit. So balancing that can feel a little tricky sometimes because you have to go up and then down, up and then down. But when I'm doing the healing, I really feel like I have to just go as far down as I can to allow for spirit to blend with me. And the energy is completely, completely different. I can feel a completely physical change in my own body because of the impressions that my guide is bringing forward of his own, what his physicality was before on the earth plane, that kind of takes that mold once again. But I also just feel the energy passing through my hands. I can often feel like I'm falling asleep, like really drowsy. My eyes sometimes get really hot as well. And of course, there's fluctuation in temperature that's happening constantly, depending on the energy that they're using to heal. And that all depends on the need of that person that we're working with. So there are some very big differences that do occur.
Yeah, great question. Thank you for that. Stacey's come back and said, I was healed in my NDE of past trauma. It was amazing, life-changing, soul cleansing. Oh, that sounds like a potential guest there, Stacey. If you want to come on, tell us sometime. We love all these stories. We love your experiences because obviously they're unique to yourself, but we love to share. It's all about sharing. Okay. She's just come back and said, I was shown my life pool. Every conversation, every action is accountable. Oh my God, I'm in so much trouble. Okay. I was judged by myself and for all I said and done. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. Yes and no. Painful and beautiful, all of the same. All those dark moments. But then maybe that's the growth. I don't know. Very interesting. So we'll have to get you on, Stace. Another great question from Cindy. Do you believe dreams show you your path?
That's a good question. I do feel that they do show you your path. At the very beginning, when I started to work with trance, I would have dreams where I would go into trance. I would also wake up speaking and a very different voice speaking through me. So I would be woken up by that. So I do believe that dreams can show us our path. And even before I began my healing journey, I would have dreams of traveling and healing people. But I didn't quite understand it, but now I do. And I've also had some experiences where I've traveled to the spirit world through astral traveling, and that's been amazing. Like, those experiences are really incredible. So I think that our dreams can be very powerful as well in guiding us throughout our life, and also bringing insight into what we're experiencing at this very moment, and can help us to guide us in that sense of healing for ourselves as well.
Yeah, great. How about you, Jennifer? I'm curious to know, what do you think about connections with guides and spirit through dreams?
I haven't had a whole lot of dream experiences with my guides in sleep. Mostly they've happened through trance. And so going into a deep meditative state in my own person, not where I'm with other people, but just in my own, sitting in the silence and connecting with them. So it's very similar, because dreams and trance are just altered states, and we experience altered states all the time, before we fall asleep, while we dream, when we're waking up, when we're in the shower, when we're driving. We're always kind of shifting into different altered states too. But what I have noticed is there's a lot that can be taught to us, whether we're dreaming, whether we're connecting mediumistically, whether we're in trance. They're always teaching us things about ourselves, about each other, and there's often we have to decode. We have to learn to decode the messages sometimes, because it's not always what we get at surface value. There's something deeper behind that. So sometimes what were originally being shown, because I know what you guys were talking about, your experiences, what were
Yeah.
originally being shown, there might be a deeper lesson or a deeper meaning, and we just need to search through a little farther. And that's where I found that even with channeled messages too, you can reread it and rewatch it and get different messages and different meanings behind it. So the more we inquire, the deeper we look into, like, why did that happen? What did they mean when they said that? Is there a double, triple meaning in those words? And that's where we can really get to know spirit on that very deep and intimate level, and connect more in the heart space and in the love that we have with spirit too.
See, I'm told it's in an easier way for them to connect with us, because our ego is asleep. So it's down, we're relaxed, we're resting. I've had some really, especially in the early days, some really strong lucid dreams with my guides and connecting with my guides. But Stacey's asked, how can you choose what you need to take from a dream as a vision or message? I've always gone with how I felt. How about you, Miguel?
I would say absolutely how it felt. And I think that it's mostly the parts that you remember that are the most important, to help you understand that message. It's like you won't forget it, and you won't forget it because it was so vivid, and you can feel that energy even after you wake up.
Yeah. Chris has
Yeah,
put, when we
beautiful.
sleep, we connect deeper. Yeah.
Yes. I think we
Yeah.
did have a question about trance. Is it always the
We
same
do. Yeah.
spirit who comes
Here we
through?
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Hello,
great
Facebook
question.
user. I'm not sure if that's Anne Marie or not, because they keep changing. I'm sorry, guys, because we can only see it as Facebook user, as you can see on the screen. When you do trance, is it always the same spirit that comes through?
So yes and no. It is always going to be Braveheart that comes through to speak, I've noticed, but I've also have had moments where other guides are beginning to come through and speak as well. And when I'm healing, Braveheart will begin the session. He will speak, but as the healing is happening, I can also feel when the doctor begins to blend with my energy. So they'll switch while the session is going on. So I do experience the different souls coming in and out of to blend with me, to work through me during that moment.
Yeah. Beautiful. Cindy has come back also and said, I've been having crazy dreams, most unexplainable. Is there a technique you guys use with that? Do you use synchronicity? What would you say out of that? Spirit use a lot of symbols. So you maybe Google some symbols, get some idea of that. I remember my partner being bitten by a snake 3 times. And I'm not too sure what that is. You guys maybe can tell me, but that kind of puzzled me for a while.
Yeah,
But
I feel like she's probably having a spiritual awakening and going into another level of her transformation. So there's a whole lot to unpack there in the messages. And even if sometimes these experiences can feel negative, that doesn't mean they are. It's just sometimes you go through, the dark forest to get back into the little spot of the forest with the sunshine in it too. And it's all meant to teach you who you are, which is divine spirit.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, guys.
Mhm.
We've got some great comments coming in. Everyone's saying hello. So beautiful.
Hi, Stacia. We love you, Stacia.
Oh, that's really. Okay. Okay. So, Chris has put, snakes biting your partner has to do with wisdom and revelations. Thank you so much, Chris. Awesome.
The snake reminds me of the Kundalini too, with that transformation too.
Yeah.
So definitely like opening up, awakening to the, the holy fire, so to speak, the passionate part of the spirit too. Yeah. Melinda. Different languages.
I have not had that experience. And I think it's because I get too nervous when there's a big change coming. And I'm aware of the fact that I disrupt the energy sometimes, and that's something that I need to work on. When it feels a little too different, I start to get nervous. So I have not had that experience. I've seen people that have spoken in different languages, and it's incredible. So if that does feel that is something that is coming through for you, then I would say just surrender and allow it to come forward.
I do believe in trance, you do have one of your guides that speaks in a different language. Is that correct?
In Spanish, yes.
Okay, yeah. I know Melinda's meaning's kind of something else, a little bit of a different experience, but you do have that other language experience while you're in trance and giving messages to, like, while you're doing healing. Do I have that right?
Yes, you do. Yeah. So they also speak in Spanish. So if that person only knows Spanish, they will do the whole session in Spanish.
Oh, wow.
And it's really
That's
a fun experience to be able to experience that with them, because I feel that I can help more people in that way, especially people in the
yeah.
community that where I live. There's a lot of Hispanic people. Most of them don't know English, and so I can help them that way. So it does help.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I think what Melinda was talking about is sometimes when people are in that awakening process, they're either speaking something that kind of sounds like light language, or perhaps
Yeah.
something of an ancient dialect. And we don't always know for sure if it's, a recorded language or just something new, but it definitely is something that happens with people when they're going through that process. And it's just a gift, because it just lets you know you're connected. If anything, yeah, it's a language you've never heard. So it lets you know that you're connected to something magical and powerful that we may not have the full explanation of, but just in itself, we just go, wow, look at that. So, yeah. Oh, hi, Melinda.
I'm just going to quickly share this, guys. Exciting. We're going to be working soon, guys, over
Yay.
on Zoom. Can't wait to see you there. Why do we do Zoom? Can I just put this to rest, guys? We used to do it on the show. And yes, it was okay. Yes, we used to get some great connections, but sometimes it might have been for someone who wasn't that, you know what it's like. You're half in, half out. The children are going to bed. It's that time of night, or going to work. We go across different parts of the world, and we really have given messages into different places in the world. I remember a lady coming on from New Zealand at 7 o'clock in the morning. Amazing. Anyway, but what we found, sometimes we weren't taking, and someone would come back to me later on, say, "Oh, Paul, that was my dad. Thank you for that message." But unfortunately, it's nicer and stronger connection when it's interactive. So we ask you to come on Zoom, come and share, spend some time with us and with Spirit World, and we connect and bring both in at the same time, and we can have that interaction with you and see your face. All right, I'll
And
start.
usually it's just the two of us, but we've got Miguel joining us, so it's an extra treat. So write down the link and join us, because you don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
I think Cindy has a question for Miguel too about art over psychic.
Oh yeah. Hi, Cindy.
Yeah. Do you find it easier to deal with art over psychic, Miguel?
Over psychic, I'm not sure I quite understand that.
I think doing the spirit art over just giving a psychic reading of their personal, life structure. I think that's what she's meaning, if you want to validate, Cindy.
See, I struggle with the concept of psychic because psychic is Latin for soul, and psychic and mediumship are a blend of the two. When you're sitting with your sitter, so we're all sitting here, we're all connecting on a soul level anyway. So, and that's when spirit will come in,
and they're always helping. I'm the same way. I don't separate them either, because the spirit's always helping. They just, the loved ones might be farther in the background and so forth, but the spirit's always helping to give us that information psychically. So, but Miguel, for you, do you like doing the spirit art over working this other way where you might be connecting with them more on a life
just
level?
pure mediumship, Miguel, Jennifer, do you reckon? Even just pure mediumship? Because I know, I wish I was blessed. And someone did ask a question. I'm so sorry, I missed the question earlier. Someone did ask, could you draw before? Well, we know you could, but because it does help, doesn't it? If you can draw before spirit connects with you and suddenly you're drawing, and it does help. But has it enhanced your drawing as well? There's another question in the question. Sorry, Miguel.
That's like 3 or 4 questions.
Yeah, so sorry. We could pick one. Pick one.
It's all good. I feel like it hasn't enhanced my drawing, and just allowing my own soul to be free in that moment. That's what I've noticed more than anything, and just allowing the energy of God to pass through or to be experienced. That's been the greatest change for me. Because even though I come from an artistic background and there is creativity, there is also training with that, learning how to paint, how to draw. So it's very systematic as well, even though it may not seem to some people. But in being able to blend the spirit art, I feel like I found that middle ground of just surrendering. And when I paint, I just invite spirit, and I can feel myself be just moved by the energy of where time just passes, and things just flow, and the painting just starts to paint itself in that way. And that's been a beautiful experience to have as well. So I do feel that they both have helped each other quite a bit.
What was the drawing that you shared recently? It was a painting, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank
Who
you.
was that?
So that was a portrait of Jesus, that he had come to me several times asking me to draw his portrait. And I told him I would, but I kind of kept putting it off. And then Elaine told me.
You put off
Put
the
off
big
Jesus.
guy. Wow. Miguel.
I was like, I need to find the right time when it feels right. And then Elaine confirmed that, Jesus wants you to paint his portrait too. And I was like, okay, I have to do it. And I finally did. And I finally did do it. And that was a really wonderful experience to have as well, because when I first started doing like the preliminary sketches, he kept showing me versions of himself when he was younger, when he was a teen. And I was like, okay, I'm like, this is really beautiful. So that was a very different experience for me. But it also started to unlock this, whole other world for me, where I had a really beautiful healing session with a friend, and I had a past life happen in that moment, and it took me back to when I was, at the same time that Jesus was living. And I remember I could see myself, what I looked like back then. I had a beard. It was really interesting to see myself then at that time, but also myself standing behind him and just being in awe of the work that he was doing. But it was really an experience that was very profound, because I never realized how much pain I had carried in my heart related to his passing. And I experienced all of that in that healing, and I felt that pain also leave me as well. And that was just a whole experience in itself that I'll never forget. But it just brought me closer to him, and that connection, which I believe we all have. We all have. There are people that I have conversations with, and we talk about God. And one thing that I've come to realize is that God never abandons us. Jesus never abandons us. If you believe in him, Mary, oftentimes it's us ourselves who abandons them because of what we're going through. But they are always, always there. And that has been a very beautiful thing to really experience. Even when days get quite heavy, I remind myself they are there, and everything's going to be fine. Just keep going.
It always reminds me of, it reminds me of that poem, Footprints in the Sand.
Mm-hmm.
When you look back and God said, I was always with you, and I only see one pair of footprints, and he says that's because I was carrying you. That's just that gets me every time.
I know.
Okay, I've got one here from Chrissy. I've got a few coming in, guys. I'm sorry, we're trying to keep up, and thank you everybody for joining in. What is the difference between psychic and medium? And that's to all of us, I guess. We should all answer that.
I think we could all answer that for sure.
Yeah. Who wants to go first? Jennifer? I mean, I don't mind.
You go first.
Okay. So basically, psychic, again, is a Latin word for soul. So it's your soul. It's your own personal energy. Okay. And everyone has their own energy. Mediumship is when you're connecting with the spirit world. If that makes sense. I don't know if I've made that too simplistic or not. But for me, that's pretty much the difference between the two. Okay, so when we want to connect with somebody else, we expand our energy. When we want to connect our spirit world, we take our focus into the spirit world. And you're now going to say, well, how do you do that? How do you take your focus? It's not easy. It takes practice. But I've always felt spirit from an early age, but it wasn't until I was older and I had certain experiences that they came to me more and I was supposed to be working. So then that opened for me. But there is a process. How about you guys?
Go ahead, Miguel.
I would say similar to what Paul said. When you're connecting psychic, you're connecting to the person that's in front of you, that sitter. And when you're connecting mediumistically, you're just connecting to the spirit loved ones on the other side, or guides, whomever that may be. So to me, that's the difference, is the focus either on the person in front of you or spirit. But you can experience the information coming through in the same way. That's how I experience myself.
Yeah. So I'm very much like you. It's really a blend. So I don't put them in complete separate categories, because they very innocent. Because I know that as I'm getting the information, it does feel more front to front, kind of like this. And when we're working mediumistically, connecting with loved ones, we're both, all three of us are kind of going like this, where it feels like it's kind of coming from a different space, like it's above. But at the same time, I know that Spirit's giving me that input for the receiver, for the person who's with me. I know that that's coming from Spirit. They're giving me those impressions and those colors, and that's, so again, I know that their helpers are there, my helpers are there, and it's kind of a team effort versus me just connecting, like I've got your grandfather and I'm just working one-on-one with your grandfather. But when I'm working psychically, I know that the whole team is just kind of giving me that information, but it feels a little more one-on-one. But yeah, so that's kind of my take on it with that too. Very similar. We're all kind of blended in the same way in that respect too.
Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. Good question. If you're asked, can you connect on the spot with someone, or do they need that time to connect?
Is this for all of us?
Yeah, well, you can if you guys want to go for it. I don't mind. Viewers are getting money's worth tonight, aren't they? 3 million.
Yeah, you can connect on the spot if that loved one is willing to connect and wants to join us. Oftentimes, as mediums, we go throughout the world just already experiencing people's loved ones. Even with the person that you're going to go buy coffee from, you might feel their loved one come in. Not that you always have to make that connection, but they're all usually around. But that can happen in the moment, or by sending that invitation at a later time for that to happen.
Yeah. I always say that if I'm demonstrating and I work in a certain way, it's a bit like a bus. You never know who's going to get off that bus. So I trust in the intelligence of Spirit to bring me who's appropriate first. And I heard Minister Jackie McLeish talk about sometimes you'll have a contact or a loved one come in to facilitate another loved one coming. I don't know if you've had that experience. She was I have that experience, and she was the first person I've heard talk about that, which kind of made me feel good. That it's not just me. I'm not going crazy. But I felt that I found that sometimes there is someone who'll come in and facilitate and allow that person, not sure whether it's because whether they've not been through much or at all and it's their first time, I'm not sure. But it's an interesting concept. But generally when I'm working, of course, I sometimes, if there's a specific person, sometimes a good old-fashioned psychometry, and I've seen Mr. Stockwell do this live. I've actually done it in a demonstration as well with a ring or a piece of jewelry. It is really interesting how you can connect to that person, and I believe it's the oldest form of mediumship going back to ancient Greece. It's pretty amazing. So psychometry is also a great way of connecting to a loved one. And I've got this nan in the spirit world. My dad's mum never comes through. Why do you think that is, guys? Because I struggle with that. I'm like, everyone comes through, but me nan. Has she reincarnated?
She will. No, she will.
Well, she's been gone about 30
years.
Will.
I know when she's getting ready, she will. I've seen it happen time and time. They don't come through for the longest time, and bam, they're just waiting for the right moment. That there's a reason for it. We don't always know what it is, but
well, that
you never know. She's gonna show up. She's gonna surprise you, and you're gonna be like, "Wow!"
That happened to me on your show, Jennifer. Do you remember the last message I gave? The parents said, "Sorry for the wait. I'm sorry, it's been a long time."
Yeah.
So
There's a
yeah,
special gift when it does come, it's very special. And I've seen that happen. And I've had people ask me, why isn't so and so coming through? Why is it always this person and not
yeah,
these people? And but they do, eventually they do. It's just there's a timing issue with that. So that's
yeah,
my opinion.
yeah.
27 years, but she showed up.
Wow.
Look at that, Stacy. Yeah. Look at that. And 27 adds up to 9. 27's got a unique, special number, just like you, Miguel, were saying. You were right, 26, 27 when you had that experience
Yeah,
with the Lady of Guadalupe, too. So interesting.
yeah,
That's super
yeah,
interesting. Yeah. Got
absolutely.
so many
Oh,
beautiful comments. So much love here today.
we have. It's been
Yeah.
fantastic. Chrissy's put shed.
Yay. Thank you, Chrissy.
Miguel, guys, also let's know you shared. Okay, and Miguel, the wonderful Miguel, is going to pick a winner. I believe, I'm not sure if it's Alice. Hi, Alice, if you're listening. Anyway, it'll be one of us. Anyway, so Miguel, if you can look down on the comments, can you see them on the right hand side?
Let me see.
And guys, let us know if you've shared, and hopefully Miguel will see you, pick you.
I cannot see them through here.
They'll be.
Okay. If you look on your right side, you might see a box that says comments on the very right.
Yeah,
And it's
right.
got a little blue.
And just
Yeah.
click on that.
Oh, okay.
Does
I
that
see.
help? There they are.
Yeah.
And then you can just kind of scroll and see who you're drawn to. And hopefully, everybody's been sharing. Thank you, everybody. You're helping Spiritual Talk to grow so we can keep serving more people and spreading more love and more light and more beautiful spiritual wisdom, especially with people like Miguel.
Thank you.
Okay.
Shout out to Alice. We love our Alice.
Yeah, hi Alice. I never forget when a friend of mine messaged on here and said, "Yeah, I've shared into the Gardeners Club. I'm not quite sure they'd appreciate it though." Don't know where you shared it.
You never know. There might be somebody who was longing for
knows?
that. And
Somebody's gonna be inspired. Yeah. In the yeah.
Gardeners are spiritual. My goodness, they work with the earth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We've got so many friends on today. Oh my gosh. Thank you for all the love, everybody. We can feel you, and it just makes it for such a beautiful time that we're all sharing together. Oh my gosh.
One person. I'm choosing one person, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Isabel's put, I can't, unfortunately, because I'm babysitting. Don't worry, we can pick a time for you, Isabel. Just contact us and we'll let you know. We'll give you some dates and bits and pieces when you can. I'm hoping, Nancy, if you're watching, I'm hoping to do you on Sunday. I'm hoping to give you a reading on Sunday if she's listening. Hopefully she's there somewhere.
So I'm choosing one person, right? That's what
Yeah.
I'm doing. Okay,
Yeah.
I got that person here. Amy Mann.
Congratulations, Amy.
Are you still in here, Amy?
Oh, I can't even see that. Hi, Suzanne. Susan. Sorry, I thought Suzanne. Susan.
I know, I do know Amy. So I can make sure she gets the message if she's not here. So I'll help you with that. So congratulations, Amy.
Awesome. Congratulations. Brilliant. Miguel, we've been going for 1 minute, 1 hour, 3 minutes. Before we go and say goodbye to you, what's coming up next?
What's coming up next? That is a very good question. I think what's coming up next is some good rest. At this time, I don't have much planned, but people are always welcome to reach out, either for a healing or a reading. I'm happy to connect with you. So I offer that to you.
And guys,
thank you, Miguel.
I would recommend.
Can we put up Miguel's information again so they can find you on Facebook?
I was just
see all the beautiful artwork that you do. And I love that we talked about your connection with Jesus, because that came up earlier today when I was doing a reading. And I know sometimes people come to me and they tell me they have that connection, and some are very open about it, and then some are very a little bit shy about it because they don't know what people will think. And it's like, why wouldn't Jesus want to connect with all of us? I mean, really? I was like, of course. So it's beautiful that got brought up. So, because I know there's probably other people who are watching and listening are like, me too. Yay. Okay. It's real. So thank you for sharing your experience, Miguel.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Paul, as well. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to work with you over on Zoom again. It's Awesome. So it's time to say goodbye, guys, and we'll see you this time next week, I believe. I'm not sure who the guest is because I've got a memory of a goldfish. Apologies for that, but we'll be back this time next week at 8 p.m.
I
Take
believe
care,
we have
everybody.
Janet. We have Janet coming
Oh.
on next week, but I can't remember her last name, but I know she's going to be with Alice. Janet.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So
Okay.
look out
We'll-
in Facebook for the comments, guys, and you'll see who's coming on, and we'll see you again next week. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Miguel.
Bye, everybody.